having a, a mic like this is because anyone leaves before my talk, I'll catch him at the gate. So nobody shall leave because they are hungry. You might as well wait here till I finish. And I can run faster than you, that much I can bet. Okay. Now, it's about amblyopia. What is the definition of amblyopia? Where is the problem in amblyopia? Any idea? Where is the problem? Eye, optic nerve, optic chiasma, lateral geniculate body, occipital cortex? Where? No, if you waste my time by not answering, then I will wait for food longer. Take a guess, where is the problem in amblyopia? Sorry? Visual? Visual processing defect. That is a very wide term. Very wide term, covers everything including the whole world. Where is the problem in amblyopia? You don't know. No, without any organic lesion, there is a problem. So where is the problem? No clue. Okay. You will say widely occipital cortex. Okay. Occipital cortex has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers. Where in the 6 layers? You will say, I don't know. Then you will say layer 4. If you have read a bit more, you will say, layer 4. Layer 4 again has A, B, C. Where? If you have read even more, you will say maybe in layer 4C. Layer 4C again has 2 layers, alpha, beta. Where? Then you will stop, because by then, if you have not read, you will not know the answer. So the problem is at layer 4C alpha in occipital cortex. See what depths you need to go just to understand where the problem is. Now, is this problem structural? Is this problem chemical? What type of problem? To analyze understand any problem and give a solution to the problem, you need to understand the problem in depth. If you don't understand the problem in depth, you do not ask right questions. The apple fell on Newton's head, but the stupid fellow, instead of eating the apple and walking away, start thinking, why did the apple not fly away? Why did it fall on my head? You understand? So he asked the right question. So once he asked the right questions, he got the answer. Is that move the, can I have the slide? Pointer and slide. So this is what happened. For me also, I thought it over, the problem in amblyopia, and I thought there must be a solution to treat the amblyopia. Laser.
Down. This was forward.
Nothing happening? Okay. So I thought about, and I decided to design an instrument based on certain thought process which was going on in my mind. And I called it Santan's magnocellular stimulator. And my wife said I'm very megalomaniac. And I said, okay, doesn't matter. You always think I'm megalomaniac, or what is new about it? So I decided to design this and treated patients between the age of 6 and 50 years. Till now, I have treated about 125 patients with a success rate of 95% in 2 to 3 weeks of treatment of amblyopia. I'm doing some magic. Okay. These are followed up for 6 months to 1 year, and in between we stopped the treatment, and we realized the vision still persisted, better vision persisted. So I said, I'm doing something right. Now I should know that I'm doing something right because patients pay for their treatment, which means that I am doing something right. Otherwise they would have beat me up, isn't it? In Bihar probably they will beat me up even before I do anything. At least in Bangalore they are more civilized. They don't beat me up. They will complain. They will put it on the Facebook. Don't go to this doctor, most useless doctor. You know, they have got one more app with them. Anything the doctor doesn't treat conjunctivitis in half an hour, he'll say, useless doctor. Have ever been. You know how they write in Facebook and all, WhatsApp, Facebook and all. It's called, I call it public toilet. So they are all, what they write on public toilet, now they have got a public face where they write on the Facebook. Okay. So I did this. So in amblyopia what happens? Important things which happen in amblyopia. There is no good vision in the amblyopic eye. There is not good stereopsis in the amblyopic eye. And the amblyopic eye is suppressed and there is no binocular vision. How do you know if the eye is functioning binocularly or not? How do you know a given person has binocular vision or not? How do you assess? Diagonally striated glasses, then Worth 4 dot, both for distance and near. Then there are a few more, we don't need to know that. Okay, after image test. Have you heard of after image test? Yes, what does it show? The presence or absence of binocularity, yes or no? However, as you go further down, the deterioration is more. Okay, let's leave it at that. So I decided that I will check the binocular vision, stereopsis and monocular vision in all these patients, chosen from 5 to 56 to 50 years. Because I had my own concept about amblyopia, eccentricity. I have changed everything in my mind after my instrument. So up to 50 years of amblyopia, I took patients with anisometropic amblyopia and I treated them with my instrument, which I called as Santan's magnocellular stimulator, which has got 3 rows of lights of LED, which looks like this, and the patients use this to treat amblyopia. One of the main important problems in amblyopia is loss of attention. Attention is very essential in treatment of amblyopia. So, how many types of attentions are there? Attention, be in attention. How many types are there? Any clue? Now there are over 25,000 articles about attention and amblyopia. Can you believe that? 25,000 articles have appeared over attention and amblyopia in the past 5 years. But we don't know what its relation to attention and amblyopia is. There is covert attention and there is overt attention. Okay, these are the two. We'll come to that in a few minutes. So after I treated with about 15 to 30 sessions, depending on the age and depth of amblyopia, we analyzed all these patients. Okay, I'll come to statistics first, and then I'll go back how it works. So we analyzed what all we analyzed. I'll come to this also in a bit later. We analyzed the stereopsis. You didn't give me the pointer, laser pointer. इसमें है क्या लेजर पॉइंटर? अच्छा वो अलग है. ये टेक्नोलॉजी थोड़ा ज़्यादा करो यार. Okay. Now, before treatment, this is the percentage of patients who had stereopsis. Is it low or high? Very low. This is after about 15 days of treatment. Low or high? High. You are definitely sure that this is high. So although we look at it, it is very high, we still wanted statisticians to manipulate the data, okay? Because we believe in wild sounding names of statisticians, so that we agree, yes, he must be correct. His name is unpronounceable, so he must be correct. That is our thinking. Okay, we did this chi-square comparison test before and after, and it is significantly positive. P is equal to 0.0001. What is that p value? You can think it over, read about it, but this is significant, correct? Agreed? This is after treatment for about 15 days, they recovered stereopsis in 95% of the patients. Okay, next one. We compared the binocular vision before 7.14%, after 93% had binocular vision after treatment for amblyopia. Have you ever heard of all these things within 15 days happening in amblyopia? Never heard of it, correct. Good, that means you are reading something. Now, chi-square comparison of squint. Before 25% had orthophoria. This is slightly more confusing. 25% of the patients pre-treatment had orthophoria. Post-treatment, 70% had orthophoria. That means I am treating squint without operating with the instrument. So your whole concept about the cause of squint has changed completely with this. Now we'll go further down. Okay. Now, this method of treatment is the first of its kind in the world and has success rate of about 95% to 98% in younger patients within 2 to 4 weeks. And since amblyopia affects 4 to 6% of the children, the economic burden is significant. So, if you buy this instrument, everything will work. So, if I stop at this, okay, you will say, कुछ तो बोल के गया, पता नहीं कितना true है, कितना ऐसे बोल. It sounds like election promises of Arvind Kejriwal. And we have many people who will believe him and vote for him because he lies all the time. Okay, many of you may be AAP supporters. I am very sorry, I am not an AAP supporter, but I am supporter of truth. Okay, now let's see how this is possible, that a small instrument like that, that's because the thinking is there. Why it should work, I will explain. How it works, I will explain. Then you go back and look at this statistics. We will look at it. Now, what is this? From the retina, the ganglion cell, the first place where the electrical impulse is converted into neural impulse is at the ganglion cell level. Before that, it is photochemical. The light is converted into chemical energy. Chemical energy is again converted into electrical energy, and the first place where electrical energy is converted into neural impulses is at the ganglion cell layer. And the ganglion cells are of various types. We will not go into the details, but for simplicity, we will say there is ganglion cells which are P cells, there are ganglion cells which are M cells. M cells are in the periphery, P cells in the center. There is a very broad classification. There are motion sensitive ganglion cells, then there are color vision sensitive ganglion cells, etc., etc. So, all the ganglion afferents go to V1, but some of them go to V2, some of them go to V3, V4, V5, some of them go here, some of them go here, various places they go. Okay? God is not stupid, you must remember. Okay. Now, there are two layers in the, no, that have gone too far. From the, we will come to this, okay. So, from the ganglion cells, okay, they reach the occipital cortex. In the occipital cortex, the parvocellular pathway goes to 4C beta. The magnocellular pathway goes to 4C alpha. However, remember, they are not separate. The M cells are involved in where of vision, the P cells are involved in what of vision. However, they are interconnected closely, otherwise the brain will not know where is what and what is where. Then you will become like Agarkar. He can see that there is a ball, he does not know where the ball, so he gets out for 0. The next time he knows that there is a ball there, but he does not know what it is, so he gets out for 0. Like that continuously he was getting out for 0. In Australia, he is a great all-rounder of India with lot of political support, he came into power, etc., etc. That is what happens if you do not have these connected. So, these are closely interconnected for you to understand where your wife is, where your girlfriend is. Otherwise, you will mistake your wife for girlfriend, girlfriend for wife, then you will have lot of difficulties in life. Okay? Not that I have faced them, but I have heard from people with experience. I do not have to face everything. I know about death does not mean that I died and therefore I know. Okay. Now, this is very important to know. This is where of vision is analyzed, this is where what of vision is analyzed. Now, where and what are very important, and we also need to know they are interconnected closely. That means the magnocellular fibers and the parvocellular cells are closely interconnected, and there is a considerable exchange of information between these two all the time. That means whenever you stimulate the magnocellular cell, the parvocellular cell is automatically stimulated. These are all the principles I have made use of in making this instrument. So, let us go further forward. This is statistics. Let us go a bit forward, then I will tell you some experiments. Not that I did it, but it was done in the, now the role of cerebral cortex in the generation of voluntary saccades. The role of cerebral cortex, particularly the occipital cerebral cortex, in the generation of voluntary saccades. A positron emission tomographic study shows that the lateral occipital visual cortex activation was present only during targeted saccadic conditions. The saccades are of various types: voluntary saccade, memory guided saccades, reflexive saccades, etc., etc. So during a reflexive saccade, the lateral occipital cortical activity is very high, which means what is there in the lateral occipital cortex? Macula. Macula is represented in the lateral occipital cortex. It is represented also on the medial side, but in vivo you cannot analyze those activities of the occipital cortex on the medial side. We don't have the technology at the moment. Once we get it, we will analyze that. So we assume that the fovea is stimulated whenever the eye moves. Now, that's very funny. Fovea stimulated when the eye moves is a very funny concept to understand. I will explain to you. Now, compared with visual fixation, when the eye is fixating on something, performing a visually guided saccades led to a significant bilateral activation of frontal eye field area, cerebellum, striate cortex, posterior temporal cortex. You see how God has designed it so well. You want to fixate on something, it means you want to analyze something more carefully. You want to know what is there. And when you want to know what is there, you need to prevent the eyes from moving. So therefore, fixation activity, when it occurs, the visually guided saccades will be absent. The visually guided saccades are produced by frontal eye field area. Frontal eye field area is suppressed during a visual fixation movement or during a visual fixation action. The visual fixation is done because the object is analyzed more carefully. The object can be analyzed more carefully only by fovea because it has more number of cones. You understand that therefore it has got a greater representation in the cortex. Now, it means when the fovea is fixating an object, no motor impulses go to the frontal eye field area and hence the eye does not move. When the eye, actually if you look carefully, eye moves but very small degree, 4 seconds or 5 seconds it moves. That is called microsaccade. We will not go into further details to confuse you. Now, superoparietal cortex is the area where where of vision is situated, and this is most of the magnocellular discharge, and this area has connections to FEF and brainstem and collicular areas. Okay. Now you don't have to ring the bell, I am looking there also. I have already told you that nobody will leave for food earlier than when I finish. When I finish, then you go for food. Okay. Don't worry, I have calculated.
After you, Santosh will also speak, then they will go for food.
Ah, okay. Where is Santosh? He has already come. So nobody will leave then. No food, just too bad. We are giving you free. If you want to have a lecture like this in UK, you will pay not less than 300 pounds as of today for a half-day release course. Please understand, I am giving you all free. Okay. Now this area has connection to FEF and brain and collicular areas. This is very important to remember because when the fixation movement is there, the superoparietal cortex is not very much involved in fixation and therefore the eye does not move. You see how intelligent the creator is. Now the hand area is very close to frontal eye field area also. So whenever the eye moves, the hand is able to recognize that movement and it says, yes, I need to go there. So comparison of the PET scans obtained during performance of eye movement and hand movement tasks indicated peak activations of FEF were located 2 centimeter lateral and 1 centimeter anterior to the, just to say that the hand and eye movement areas are closely interlinked. All this, okay. Now we will go to the next one. The posterior parietal cortex. See, this I will explain to you a little bit after you get the concept first, then I will show you the figures and tell you. The posterior primary parietal cortex, PPC, has 2 areas. It has an attention area, it has a saccadic area. Posterior parietal cortex is a sensory cortex. How can sensory cortex have a saccadic area? Any sensible man would immediately ask me a question, don't be stupid. Parietal area cannot have motor commands. Yes? Saccade is a motor command. How can parietal cortex, which is a sensory area, can have a motor command? Think it over. Okay, we'll come to that in a few minutes. The forward connection of this is to the frontal eye field area. From the parietal area, which is a saccadic area, the connections go to the frontal eye field area, and these two are reciprocally connected. The frontal eye field area and the parietal cortical saccadic area are reciprocally connected. When the fovea is focusing on the object, the attention area in the primary posterior cortex is stimulated. Primary posterior parietal cortex has two areas, attention area and saccadic area. When the attention area is stimulated in the parietal cortex, it inhibits the saccadic area in the parietal cortex. The inhibition of saccadic area in the parietal cortex inhibits the frontal eye movement, and the frontal eye movement is inhibited, eye does not move. You understand? Okay, I heard it's almost time up, 2 minutes I think. Otherwise, if I stop at this, they will get confused. If somebody asks parietal area, they will say it is a motor cortex, and then they will fail the exams. Okay. Simple saccadic eye movement is associated with greater lateral occipital activity compared to more complex cognitional movements. Okay, internal cognitional movement. If there is something coming in the peripheral area, if you think that it is a person who probably may be nice looking, you will immediately turn. That is cognitional movement. If it is a person coming there and you know you have taken loans from him and you have to return, you will immediately turn and run away like this. See, these are all cognitional movements of the brain through information sent to rest of the body. Okay. So, these are called antisaccades. Okay, they are all, but they are not associated with increased lateral occipital activity. Only the reflexive saccades are associated with this. Now, these are all the principles I utilized in making this machine. Now, if you look at this, this is my last slide, everything becomes clear. This is the posterior parietal cortex, which has got two areas, saccadic area here and the attention area here. The saccadic area is connected to the magnocellular discharge somewhere here. Okay, magnocellular discharge is the one which compels the eye to move. Now, the fixation area here or the attention area here is connected to the temporal cortex, occipital cortex and parietal cortex, and this attention area in turn is connected to the occipital cortex here. So, whenever you stimulate the magnocellular cortex, magnocellular pathway suddenly by reflexive movement, okay, two things happen. Whenever eye makes a saccadic movement, the retina in between the peripheral receptors which is stimulated and the fovea is suppressed. Why it is suppressed? Because of the brain's thinking that if you keep the vision active in between these, there will be a smearing effect. It will cause problem. So, it will be suppressed. So, two areas will be activated during this thing, fovea and magnocellular cells, and the remaining will be suppressed. So, by the time the fovea arrives, the image is already been perceived by the fovea because it is stimulated. So, if you repeatedly do this, fovea gets stimulated. No matter how much patch you do by slapping the child, the afferent impulses are always blocked. However, the impulses coming from here, here, here to the occipital cortex, this is called as top-down impulses, they are not blocked. And this is what I am utilizing in treating the amblyopes, and it works so wonderfully. I think I will stop at that. Thank you very much.